Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence. A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston to Employee Resources Credit Union, where you're more than just a number, you're family. We provide financial solutions that rise above those of traditional banks. With roots stretching back to 1964, we've served 4 generations during constant industry changes. We're known for our low fees and incredible rates. Join us and experience the credit union difference. BRCU, not for profit, for service. And Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate.
LUS is committed to our customers, from providing and maintaining energy-efficient utility services to friendly, helpful customer service. LUS is there. At LUS, we're always challenging everything we know, every day. We strive to improve efficiency and reliability while focusing on our responsibility to our customers and the community. It's our promise to provide dependable service to our customers every time. Because we don't just work in Lawrence County, we live here too.
At C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome everybody here to X Sports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. I keep looking at the wrong thing. AJ Good here with Michael Marks. And Mike, it is a big time day going on all across the area. We've got Substate in baseball. We got region championships in softball. Half of our teams are still alive. We have a new head women's basketball coach over at UT Southern. We'll get into who we all know really well. We're going to get into some of that going on. But, man, just 3 teams making it this far in high school baseball and softball is exciting enough. And then you add, we got a local guy that's going to be taking over a college that we do the games for. It's one of those, like, he can't get rid of us yet. Or we can't get rid of him, one or the other. Yeah. But we're all excited about it with Coach Tips taking over at UT Southern.
Yeah, I would say you mentioned that a ton of fun going on because 3 of our 6 teams are still playing, and right now there's only 16 teams left in each classification, so that's incredibly special. And then you got Coach Tips making the move from Loretta to UT Southern to take over the women's program there. So yeah, it's been a really exciting week for the sports world locally. Yeah,
let's get into the high school softball side of things, starting first with the Lady Cats trying to go back. Mike, they got up early. They actually did something they haven't done much this year. Got up early on someone, kept the lead throughout the course of the game, got a really good win against Montgomery Central. So they have to go to Creekwood tonight. They're automatically in the Substate tonight. It's for a region title and for a chance to host in Substate, which should be going on the same time as graduation, because graduation's Friday night over there at the Ralph. But what a good win. They took advantage of, as you can tell right here, Montgomery Central. The first 4 runs a Lady Cat scored were off of Lady Indian errors. Their aggressive base running just took advantage of a lot of mistakes of pitching, and the defense was great. Really solid win as they now move on to the next round.
Yeah, I was really confused looking at the game changer for the score of this game, because it said there were only, out of the 9 runs the Lady Cats scored, I believe only 3 were technically RBIs. Yeah. So I was a little confused at that, but the offense looked really good again. Callie Brown had 2 hits, as well as Elizabeth Hagan, Carly Van Pelt, and then Brown and Hagan. Really a huge 1-2 punch you can get on the mound. Brown goes the 6 innings, and then Hagan comes in to slam the door in the 7th. And a really big win for the Lady Cats to not only clinch themselves a spot in the region championship game, but like you mentioned, give them a spot in the Substate coming up on Friday.
Back-to-back years are hoping to win tonight at Creekwood. Creekwood, a really good team. They got to go there. That's another one of those schools that we just end up crossing paths with all the time. Even in football season, when the football team played Dixon County, they had to play them at Creekwood because their stadium was being renovated. So they can give, baseball just played them. One of the 2 reasons they got knocked, their season ended. So we just keep crossing paths with them. But good news for both sides. There is pressure in it because you want to host, you want to be called region champions. But in a way, it's kind of like, man, just go out there, have fun. A loss doesn't kill you here, but a loss will make you pay out some money to get to where you need to go. But if you win this thing, you're sitting back at home. If you're the Lady Cats, you get graduation that night for Elizabeth Hagan and Tevi Stadium. I think there's one other senior I'm forgetting, and I apologize for doing that if I'm forgetting you. But those are some seniors that, hey, depending on when the game time is, we might be able to slide on over,
I was about to say,
we might play the game earlier in the day, so then you can go to graduation. Just depends on the logistics of it this time of year. But you much rather be at Jim Chance Field for a Substate, for a chance at a state title, than you would on the road.
Yeah, and looking at the 2 teams in the other region, Liberty Creek and Springfield, so that's either Gallatin or Springfield, which is an hour and 45 minutes to a 2-hour drive on the north side of Nashville. Yeah, you got to go through Nashville on a Friday afternoon, which
we'll take Tullahoma any day.
At that point. So again, it's not win or go home tonight, but it's win and you get to come back home. So I think the Lady Cats are going to take that and hopefully get another win and get another game at home.
Speaking of big win, Lady Eagles hosting East Hickman, trying to get back into the Summertown just keeps the train rolling. Good win against East Hickman. Speaking of taking advantage, East Hickman, it's weird how both games from Lawrence County and Summertown ended up that, East Hickman had some errors in the early going. Summertown just put the ball in play, made them feel it just like Lawrence County did. The Montgomery Central worked out for them, and their defense and their pitching was very, very solid. Pick up a good win, and they're back in another region championship game tonight as well.
Yeah, and it feels like every time we do a Summertown highlight reel, I find a different player that had a big game. Izzy Garland with 3 hits again, Reagan Stevens, and then anytime Olivia Woods is on the mound, it's going to be a gem. Goes 7 innings, only 1 run, 5 strikeouts, no walks. When you're not giving up free passes, it's an easy day on the mound.
Another tough game tonight.
Got that community again for the 6th time.
It's in your building.
Yes.
Which is the most important thing. It's in your building. They got to come to you. Again, it's one of those, there's pressure, but there's not, because you are guaranteed a spot. And when you look at the other region, you know the Huntingtons in the world are going to be there, and that other region is going to be really, really tough, no matter who you play over there. But you'd much rather them come to your ballpark than have to make that winding country road trip to wherever you got to go next.
I would say the other 2 teams, Stewart County, which is in Dover, Tennessee, which is not close, and Harpeth, a team that feels like we would go play in volleyball every year in Substate.
They were in their football.
Yes, it was in the football region pretty recently. So some schools you're somewhat familiar with, but again, it's going to be community for the 6th time. And I actually did look it up. So we mentioned the 22 runs that Summertown scored in that district championship game. In every district game leading up to that, and that's counting the tournament, the community only allowed 25 runs. So that's incredibly impressive. Both teams coming off big wins. Obviously, Summertown, the 7-1 win over East Hickman. Community, a 3-0 win over Lewis County. Annie Prince, a 16 strikeout shutout win. It feels like almost the norm for her at this point. The 6th matchup, Summertown's won 2 of the last 3. But again, right now, community still up with the season lead 3-2. the games that have been higher offense have gone towards the Lady Eagles. The games that have been more pitching duels defensively have gone towards Community. So Summertown got to keep the bats hot tonight.
And so, like I said, when they beat them the first time on that come from behind win there in the district tournament, it's like every time they play this team, they get better and better. They get more and more confidence. I mean, they treated them like, no disrespect to this team, and I really mean no disrespect, like how Mount Pleasant was a couple years ago, and turned it into just a rout.
Yeah, I mean, it almost felt like two completely different teams on the field that day. 22 runs in any game is impressive. The fact that he did it in 5 innings against one of the top, I would say, 5 or 6 teams in the state, you got to be feeling good heading into tonight. And obviously, I mean, this is going to be a heavyweight matchup for this, and like I said, for the 6th time this season. We'll see if Summertown can even it up and take home 2 titles with it. You know, obviously they took the district championship away from them at Community. Maybe Summertown able to keep the championship at home on the region side of things.
And good for us, because if we could have baseball and both softballs
at home
with gas prices the way that they are,
that would be
that's the good
a
Lord
relief.
shining down on
Yes.
us in a big way. So speaking of Substates and baseball, Wildcats at home tonight taking on Martin Luther King Magnet. The Royals coming to Tom Cruise Field, and man, there is just a buzz in the air this week around Lawrenceburg with this team. You see the signs, you know they're, because it's Wednesday night, and the church stuff that they're doing kind of like a youth service at the mound and whatnot. And I had to go pick up my gear for an interview this morning, and Clint Wright was already out there at the field getting things going, which means he was probably up at 3 a.m. and he couldn't sleep.
Probably.
There's just a buzz in the air. You think about it, first Substate since '84, looking for the first state tournament since '77. To put it in perspective, I was born in '84. My sister was born in '77. I'm just so much history at stake here tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was very much not alive in '77, so we'll
much not thought of.
Yes, I would say very far from that. But again, like you mentioned, AJ, the message at the mound with FCA going on tonight at 4:45 to 5:15. Got the game at 6, and like you mentioned, there has been a certain buzz around here because it's just something that hadn't happened in a while.
Yeah.
And when you got the team that's been able to make this kind of run, I mean, it's just been special. And you got this Martin Luther King team, Magnet team coming in. Going to be a lot of offense. Yeah. Lawrence County scoring around 7.5 to 8 runs a game. This team close to 9 runs a game. So the offense is going to be there. It's going to be big for whoever Lawrence County throws on the mound, whether it's Braden Morrison, whether it is Logan Mays, whoever they throw out on the mound. It's going to be important for them to limit free passes and keep the Royals off the bases as long as they can.
And keep that, district tournament. They are just teeing off on people. They have 14 against Marshall County. They scored 9 in a more dramatic than it should have been game against Tullahoma. They come out in the region tournament, 8 against Creekwood, 12 against Battle Creek. This offense is putting up some numbers. More than likely, pitching wise, you're looking Logan Mays tonight, Braden Morrison on Thursday, then whoever if needed. After that, they could flip flop them because they all have met the rest. And if you think about it, you keep on that rotation with as many days rest as they've had, it feels like a big league rest. Like it's just your spot in the rotation coming up on the schedule. Yeah,
exactly. And the long ball's kind of been in play for Lawrence County. They've hit 5 since the district tournament started. Now, obviously, 3 of them were one guy in one game, but still, the offense, like you mentioned, has been on top of the world. So as long as the pitching is able to keep up, it should be a big win for Lawrence County tonight.
Yeah, and you're hoping for the best. And again, it's up to you. They've got something on one of their shirts that says "Burn the Ships." That this is what you do this time of year.
Yes.
You don't worry about arms. You don't worry about at bats. You
just go out there and do the most you can do with whatever your position is, whether you're the guy on the mound, whether you're the left fielder and batting 8th, whoever it could be. You got to do your job and do it right. But it looks to this point in the season they've done that pretty well.
Yeah. And you got 2 more wins to prove it tonight. And look, very exciting things going on. And speaking of exciting, we got a new head women's basketball coach over at UT Southern, Loretto's boys coach, and he was their girls coach at one point in time. Greg Tipps has taken over at UT Southern. I spoke with him this morning. He's very excited about the opportunity. He's already hit the ground running with recruiting. He's talked to the majority of his players coming back, and he is so pumped and so excited and hear his ideas. We got an inside the locker room with him coming up. I did it this morning. It's debuting tomorrow at noon, and he had me convinced. I kind of want to run through a wall for him right now. I think I even said in our room, like, all right, man, you're hired.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, you're good here. And he's got a lot of great things in line. He's already thinking about 2027 and that recruiting class. And the good news for him, he's taken over a top 25 program, won a game in the NAIA tournament. And this is a program that beat the number one team in the country, that was doing a lot of big things. There's a lot of exciting stuff going over in Pulaski right now.
Yeah, and you're getting a guy that almost has 500 wins in his career at the high school level, is multiple state championships, multiple programs to the Final Four. It's just been an incredible high school coaching career for Coach Tips, and as someone that played for him, like you say, had you ready to run through a wall, had me ready to run through a wall many times for the Mustangs back in my day. He cares about his players, he cares about the school he's at, and he cares about the program that he's leading. So UT Southern has definitely picked up a great head coach and someone that is going to take them to hopefully new heights. And he's done that for obviously Loretto does have the girls basketball history, but it had been a while since they had made the state tournament when he got us there back in 2010, and then gets the boys their first ever state championship in his first year back in 2018. Hopefully he can do big things for the Firehawks.
And looking at the roster, it looks like he's going to be able to keep the majority of it back. I know there's one for sure. There's a couple for sure that will be graduating, including the leading scorer, Ashley Dickey from last year, who was awesome. But you got, Ramey Reed, who's one of the bigs, who averaged almost a double-double. Several good freshmen on this team. Lauren Smith, who was the Southern States Conference Player of the Week, I think, on 2 or 3 occasions last year. So they've got a really, really solid group from last year's top 25 team that's coming back, and I believe Socaria Vasquez Trochet, who almost averaged a quadruple double for this team last year's coming back. He kept mentioning he had a conversation with someone from Puerto Rico, which everybody'd have to do, but she's incredible. Just what a great player, and got some local ones. And the one thing that really impressed me was he talked about recruiting Tennessee and wanting to just draw a fence around the state and say whoever is great in this state or great in this area, Southern Middle Tennessee, Northern Alabama, he wants them wearing the orange and black.
Yes.
And that's very encouraging to hear him talk like that.
Well, and a guy that's made as many stops as he has, he's been at Loretto, he's been at Dixon County, Stone Memorial, Moore County, he's been all over the state. So, for him to, like you mentioned, just draw a border around Tennessee and say, I'm going to keep some of these kids home. Yeah. He's coached around the state long enough. He knows where good players come from. He knows, kind of where to look for good players, and he's been able to put together some really talented rosters.
Yeah, it's impressive what he's done. Like you said, almost 500 career wins, all the state tournaments, all the Final Fours, and the 2 state championships is impressive. So UT Southern's getting a really, really good coach, and we get the pleasure to be there and watch it go down. And we're excited to see more of his journey as a coach and getting into the coaching side of it, and just excited to see what the future has in store.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting when you see a coach be able to make the jump up from either the high school level to the college level or the college to the professional levels. So congrats to Coach Tips.
Yeah, also UT Southern wise, the softball team season unfortunately came to an end. They did knock out the number 8 national seed in Missouri Baptist yesterday, the softball team, before falling to Johnson once again. So they picked up 31 wins on the season. Unfortunately, again, lost to Johnson both times, which knocked them out. But, hey, for the Firehawks, that's back-to-back NAIA national tournaments that they made. Last year, they made a run all the way to the World Series here. Unfortunately, got bounced in the opening round. But still, this program is definitely on the rise the way things are going.
Yeah, 100%. And, some injuries and things like that caused them to have a bit of a rough stretch down the stretch. So bring some of those players back. Next year could be another great year for the ladies out in Pulaski.
Yeah, and it's a good time for us to be involved with them.
Yes.
Out there with everything going on, especially now. So coming up next, Mike, we'll take a look at everything going on in the NHL and the NBA playoffs. And plus, you kind of alluded to it. the whole RPI college baseball situation. Well, one of my teams has made this issue blow up nationwide. So we'll talk about that when we return.
Shop McMaster's Home Gallery for furniture, appliances, and more. And shop quality, shop convenience, shop service, shop local. A family-owned business with a long history of serving the region. We're a one-stop home furnishings destination. We feature brands you know, competitively priced, backed by professional installation and service. You can trust that we'll take good care of you before and after the sale. For your home, shop smart. Shop McMaster's Home Gallery today.
There are now more ways to save at Quick Mart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quick Mart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence. Welcome to Employee Resources Credit Union, where you're more than just a number, you're family. We provide financial solutions that rise above those of traditional banks. With roots stretching back to 1964, we've served 4 generations during constant industry changes. We're known for our low fees and incredible rates. Join us and experience the credit union difference. ERCU, not for profit, for service.
C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to X Sports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. AJ Good here with Michael Marks. And Mike, it's funny. You have foreshadowed so much stuff going on, from national things to politics. Some of the stuff me and you've talked with on air and off air, and you mentioned it. You actually started mentioning this a couple weeks ago, because it has been a trend of teams dropping games. Again, those midweek opponents. Tennessee wasn't doing that, but they have done it in years past. And then lo and behold, who would have thought it would have been one of the teams that I used to cover, one of the teams of my state. And the moment I'm like, I'm not going to need to mention Marshall until football season rolls around. And then lo and behold, Virginia Tech drops out of the game, and then it becomes a national topic because that game was supposed to be in Huntington. Marshall went down there, beat them pretty bad. And this is also after Marshall, a couple weeks ago, went to Columbus and smacked up Ohio State pretty bad. And Virginia Tech pulls out of the game because they want to help their RPI, whatever the case may be. And they even left one of my buddies getting into a Twitter feud with Kyle Peterson, of all people. Ryan, you're a troll whether or not you want to admit it or not. You are one. You always have been. And now Twitter gives you opportunity to do that, or X, however you want to put it. But man, like I'm just going to start like. We might need to start these conversations because you've been out in front of it from the get-go.
Yeah, well, Virginia Tech's had an up and down year, more down than up. So obviously want to preserve their RPI, but being in the ACC, you can have a 27-22 record like they do and still be top 40 in RPI. Then you have a Marshall team that, like you mentioned, beat them a couple weeks ago in Blacksburg by 9 runs, who is 175th in the RPI.
Yep.
That loss to if Virginia Tech was to go to Huntington and lose again, that was going to hurt their RPI even more, potentially push them maybe on the outside looking in of the NCAA tournament. That would make the tournament coming up next week, the ACC tournament, very important. So now we're seeing teams, and Kentucky had a very.
Who was it that they?
That was Northern Kentucky that they canceled against, and they made
that at Kentucky or at.
It's supposed to be at Kentucky, so it wasn't a big travel thing like it being
it's Cincinnati to Lexington, so it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, so it wasn't. That one I can understand. Kentucky was saying that they had some travel problems over the weekend. Virginia Tech, it seems like they were just trying to save face, and I had mentioned it to you that the. Some NCAA baseball chairman had sent out a memo to coaches pretty much telling them, hey, if you're going to cancel games to preserve your RPI, we're going to find that out, and it's going to hurt you. Yeah. It is going to be something that could hurt you with seeding down the line or maybe even keep you out of the tournament. So very curious to see what implications happen to Virginia Tech with this.
And, Tennessee didn't cancel any of their midweeks.
And they went undefeated.
And they went undefeated in that. And, the other school in my state who's top 10 right now, they played Marshall 3 times at home, 1 neutral in Charleston, and Huntington won all 3 games.
And say that's perfect.
So Virginia Tech can't really say this is going to hurt them when you got a top 10 team that played that team. Beat them all 3 times, but it didn't hurt them to play them 3 times.
No, and I had mentioned it with you. Kind of the reciprocal of it, because everybody always talks about it's like, oh, these big teams canceling the games. Yeah, they want to save their RPI, this, that, and the other. But these little teams have no chance to improve their RPI, improve the teams they've played against when you're taking these games away from them. Yeah. So obviously there's going to be something done probably this offseason, hopefully, that can prevent that from happening, or maybe like reschedule some way where they can work this out.
Or make these things binding unless it's whether you're like have a major or like make it have a financial penalty.
Yes.
Which these contracts should already have in place, because that's what you do. It's weird. Basketball doesn't have those, but baseball and all these other sports, but football does. Football, there's an agreement between the two. But with the small schools, you have that contract. They hold you to it because they need that money. So
that's why canceling football games is such a big deal, as opposed to just, hey, we're not going to play the baseball game today, guys. So probably needed to have something a little bit more official, more binding to keep the games where they're being played, unless, like you said, there's weather or some other unforeseen circumstances, because it's hurting these smaller schools, and it feels like that's kind of the direction college sports has been heading the last couple of years is, whatever we can do to help benefit the big schools, they're going to make us all the money and kind of just throw these other schools to the side, which kind of is sad to see.
Yeah, it's and it's I saw a lot of Power 4 coaches get asked about this, so this is why it's becoming such a big topic, and it just like, okay, you say you go there and you beat Marshall, but you would think like a road game would help your RPI. Like if you're winning games and your RPI drops, there's something wrong with the formula. And if you're in that dire straits, your chances of making the tournament aren't good to begin with.
Exactly.
So you probably do need to play the game to maybe just make your
record look better.
Make your record look better. And in Kyle Peterson's defense to my troll friend Ryan, which was basically like the committee doesn't mainly use RPI anymore. They use all these other metrics to gauge a bunch of stuff. Does it help? Yes, but is it like the be all and end all of it? No. So, yet it is a part of it, but it's not the part of it. They still measure on-field success. They do measure your strength of schedule and all of those things. But if that's the case, okay, let's just take a look at Virginia Tech's baseball schedule, as I say that out loud. They got Clemson coming up, but let's look at, the teams that they're 27-22 overall.
Yep.
13-14 in the ACC.
So very middle of the road.
They have to win the tournament, or at least get into the championship game. I would venture to say you need to take 2 out of 3 from Clemson coming up, who they're a top 25 team, and then you need to win
probably two or three games
in the ACC tournament to make it, logical. I mean, they've played William and Mary, ETSU. Okay, Rutgers, Big Ten team. James Madison, Marshall's conference.
Yes.
Only beat them by 1. But then, they have games against A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee. Okay. You lost 13-4. That game was on March 3rd.
Yes, that was the second weekend of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, they've played VCU, ETSU twice, Radford, which that makes sense. They're right down the road. Liberty, right down the road. Radford,
they're playing the local-ish teams.
Just like Marshall and West Virginia.
Exactly.
Play the local-ish teams. So you've played James Madison twice, VCU twice, Radford twice, Liberty twice.
Well, I see exactly what Kyle Peterson is saying, and it was just about to be my next point is, are we getting too analytically driven with sports?
Yes.
Because
that's a big topic across mainly baseball, but all across sports. Right?
I would say baseball is probably the most analytical sport you can when you just get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have a rely upon a system of a power index where winning a game is going to hurt you.
Right.
Winning never hurts anything.
Shouldn't hurt anything.
In the grand scheme of things, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like you say, win a game you should win, and it hurt you.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem. We either need to find an entire new system that's not going to hurt you for winning a game, or have to have, like you mentioned, a legally binding contract making this, making sure those games are played, or we're going to have teams dodging, these bubble teams dodging a potential loss on their schedule to an unranked, non-conference opponent that would hurt them.
And we've seen it and we hear it a lot in basketball. You hear Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4, but a lot of these Tier 1 and Tier 2 teams schedule those Tier 3 and 4 teams at home in the early part of the season. That doesn't necessarily hurt their RPI. Even though RPI is not as big as what it used to be in basketball, but it's still sort of a measuring stick because you play a lot of good out of conference games mainly at neutral sites now. Unless
that's become popular.
That's become popular. You can still beat the Maryland Eastern Shores and the Georgia Southerns and those sort of teams in the early part of your schedule, but that does, because that your conference schedule is going to make up for a lot. And the same goes in baseball and softball and all those things. It will work itself out but that's more of how is the ACC viewed right now? Because the Big 12 isn't viewed like that. The Big Ten is in baseball.
Yeah.
The SEC certainly is not viewed like that.
The ACC is teetering on that 2 to 3 line where, are they the number 2 conference? Because I think the Big 12 has done an excellent job with baseball this year. But also it kind of brings the double-sided sword to this of how much do midweeks really matter, though? Because you see, if Texas loses to UTEP or whatever, that game doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But now a Virginia Tech and Marshall game
that you already lost once this year
is going to be the game that your entire season's hanging on. That feels kind of like a lazy argument there.
It's a very lazy argument because, these, especially the higher level, like those Sunbelt teams win those midweeks a lot. Nothing out of the ordinary, but then you get but then they won't, if that means so much, like Tennessee's right down the road. Do a home and home with Tennessee.
They would love it.
Yeah, you avoid West Virginia and everything like the plague. You can do a home and home, or you can play them in Charleston. You can play them right down the road in Princeton. They've done that before.
Yes.
West Virginia, West Virginia's playing Pitt, Penn State, Ohio State in the midweeks, and playing 3 against Marshall, and that's not hurting their RPI.
Yeah. I just don't get it. It seems like a lazy argument to get out of playing games that you're scared to lose.
Yeah.
So that's all that shows me. And now Virginia Tech could completely run through every regional, super regional in Omaha and win it, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening this year.
I don't see
Not even close.
Happening either. Moving on to the pro side of things, Mike, and this article, and it's wild. The NBA is defending the 11% increase in foul calls during the playoffs. Mindful of criticism from players and coaches, NBA Senior Vice President of Referee Development and Training, Monty McCutcheon, acknowledges there's a difference between the regular season and the playoffs, but he said refereeing doesn't fundamentally change in the postseason. He said, quote, "It would be very difficult on our players and our coaches, most certainly our referees, if the intensity of a 7-game series that we see in the playoffs exhibited itself over 82 games. He said, NBA playoff basketball is one of the great spectacles of all sports, in my opinion. You get the combination of the passion and the strength of our players and the coaching staffs in tight spaces over a 7-game series, and I think that would absolutely makes for a different game." In a way, I sort of understand it. Yes, playoff games are different than regular season games, but you're also calling very weak things that you also do not call during the regular season.
I was about to say, it brings me back to what's going on during the regular season that we're missing out on, because there's no reason that we should have a close to 15% increase in foul calls during the playoffs just because every single one of those games is televised now.
Yeah.
It kind of opens your eyes to what's going on in the NBA. I mean, you had Victor Wembanyama elbow Naz Reid in the head pretty viciously and didn't get
pretty mad.
And other than getting ejected from the game, which should have been the call there, no further penalty. I mean, probably a fine, but again,
I think it was like $100,000 or something.
But what's that to a guy that's making contracts that would probably be the GDP of us in every county that borders Lawrence County right now. So
us for 20 years with that money.
Exactly,
if not longer.
So and I mean, we've talked about the Thunder. It feels like every series, and we'll probably talk about it in the conference finals again. Maybe it's that the referees feel like they're under a certain
microscope.
Yes, and now feel like they need to make every call, but the playoffs is not the time to do that. People don't want to watch a free throw contest.
No.
Trust me.
We don't want to watch that in high school. We don't want to watch that in the college.
I'm about to say, nobody wants to watch Zach Edey shoot 25 free throws in a game anymore. Now, it's not in the NBA as bad, with big men, but that was a problem in college. If you were 7'2", 7'3", you were just going to sit there and shoot free throws because nobody could guard you.
Right.
Now we're just having ticky-tack stuff called in the NBA, and we're letting guards shoot 10 or 15 free throws a game each.
And we're letting guys hold guys on screens and then calling on the defensive player.
Yeah. I mean, something's got to be fixed with this, and I don't know how you fix it, but I would say at this point in the postseason, I don't know how you change anything. But it kind of looks like we're at a kind of a one-way course to Knicks Thunder for the finals, which is going to be. I feel like that would be a really compelling series.
The Knicks in the finals would be
insane.
It'd be insane.
I'm trying to think of the last time they made it to the finals.
99.
Okay, did they make it?
That was the strike shortened or the lockout shortened year with Latrell Sprewell and Al Thomas, and there's one other big name that they had.
Was Charles Oakley on that team?
I think he had already retired by that point, but it was Duncan's first title with this, and the only Robinson got two because he was there a part of their second title team. That was, I believe, it was his last year, but that was the big two with Duncan and Robinson. But I'm for sure
Marcus
Camby, that's who it was. The 1 year Marcus Camby was useful in the NBA. Him and Sprewell, I think they were like the 7 or the 8 seed in the East and got that for. Like, it was a pretty surprising that they even made it.
Well, a 27-23 record. They were fourth in eighth. They were the eighth. They were at fourth in their division. Wow.
And they caught fire and got all the way to the NBA Finals, and the Spurs were just too good.
I would say that was when we got to that era of the Spurs machine where it just felt like you give Greg Popovich a couple of the Tony Parkers, and that was before them. Obviously, that was the.
It was right before them.
That was the maybe Sean Lewis was on, or Sean Elliott was on that team. Yeah, the Bruce Bowen
Avery
guys
Johnson,
like that.
Avery Johnson was the point guard. Yeah,
those are some good teams.
There's some good teams. Speaking of the Spurs, beat the Timberwolves last night, so they're up 3-2. They can close it out on Friday when they go back to Minnesota. Again, you mentioned the Thunder beat the Lakers, so there goes that. We don't have to. I'm sure LeBron will be. I guarantee you. Mark my words. No pun intended. LeBron, at some point, if he's going to retire, will do it during the finals.
Really? You think he? Wow.
If he does. I'm not saying he will.
And usually the NBA has a big no-no on breaking big stories during the finals, but they would give LeBron the okay. They would.
LeBron would do it if he had the okay or not.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, but
there's been a little narrative going around that I've seen a couple of guys bring up. Do you consider LeBron's time in LA a success or a failure?
I mean, they won the titles, and
But it was the COVID title, and a lot of people kind of
poo-poo that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think he would have done any better in Cleveland. I'll put it that way.
I do agree with that.
He wasn't going to win maybe one more if they were able to find a way to get another superstar.
Finals, but it's like I don't want to poo-poo titles because winning titles is hard.
Yeah.
And I think but because no one poo-poos the Stars winning the title in the NHL.
I would say the only reason they discredit the Dodgers is because it's the Dodgers and everybody hates them. But
I mean, and the NHL had the worst. Literally, they put a barbed wire fence around their hotel. It was awful. It was awful. And
I mean, think of any other sports league other than the NHL doing that. I mean, the NFL would have completely burned to the ground if that happened.
And very little complaining because they were it's either you played or you practiced, and they did do some back-to-backs, but it was in Toronto and Edmonton. And then, you had the NBA at Disney World. And legit, I stayed in
ballrooms.
Yeah, I stayed in the same resort that LeBron and them stayed in a year later. Wow. And I'm like, this guy was complaining about this? Like, what a spoiled child.
The thing that I remember, it was Matisse Thybulle. He was a wing player for the 76ers.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of him at Washington because he was, he would average like 3 blocks and 3 steals a game. Cool guy. But he had a YouTube channel and he did vlogs from inside the bubble. Yeah. And other than the being apart from your family side, I mean, they get to live at Disney World. I mean, that's awesome.
They have personal private ships.
Yeah.
Like, I watched a video of, I forgot whose team it was. It might have been the Lakers, personal chef. And, she was like, I'm like, dude, that looks great.
Yeah.
I'd eat on that all day long. And especially at Disney World, they got great kitchens. And I'm like, man, dude, you're complaining about this? Yeah, I get it. Isolated from your family, you can only go to your room and you can only go, to the court and to the room or to practice. I get that part of it. But, I mean, it's not like you're at the Super 8, bro.
No, I would say it was living nice, and maybe that's kind of why they discredit that title a little bit. But
to the point where I understand, and I've heard the same arguments, is okay, well, yeah, he's made the playoffs 7 times. That's the deepest they went was that. Other than that, they've been swept 3 times.
I think so. Yeah.
Been there?
And mostly by Denver,
yeah.
It feels like.
Swept 3 times and really weren't competitive in any of those. I don't want to necessarily call it a failure because if you make it to any postseason at the pro level 7 times, that's just hard to do because winning at the pros is just different. But again, it wasn't his success in Cleveland. It wasn't his success in Miami. Maybe by his own personal standards,
it wasn't.
It's a failure, but I think the Lakers might, other than the title, I think the Lakers might call it a failure because
you kind of sold your future away for LeBron, and that's what I was going to get at. That's why I feel like it's so hard to judge this because you look at where the Lakers were prior to LeBron, it wasn't good.
No.
It wasn't bad. You could tell they were getting back on the right track with a young Lonzo Ball, D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle. Those guys wasn't great, but it was getting back there, and then you had to sell everything pretty much to get LeBron.
To get him back, to get him there, and then you had to sign a son. You mortgage your future for this guy only for 1 bubble title, and in all reality, I wish we wouldn't have gone through what we did. If we had a regular NBA Finals,
they probably wouldn't have
made it. No, it was different because a lot of teams' momentum got ruined, and good on them for winning that because that's just a tough venue to win in. But I think at the end of the day, we all know.
It was a little, and I don't want to say they cheated or anything, but it was a little tainted just in the fact that, let's stop for however long we did stop, 3 months, whatever it was, and then pick up, and we're just going to continue like it was the same season.
Yeah.
I feel like that you can kind of take a little bit away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving quickly to the NHL, the Avalanche can close things out in Minnesota tonight. The Sabres, what a win last night. They were being dominated by Montreal, but they hung in there, got a big power play goal there early in the third, hung on the win. Again, that series is tied up at 2. The Hurricanes are still getting an extended break because the Sabres and the Canadiens will probably go 7. The Avalanche, it's in Colorado.
It's in Colorado
tonight, so they'll probably close it out. Golden Knights took the lead over the Ducks. Good win there in Anaheim last night. So they have a chance to close it out tomorrow night at home. So, hang on. No, that wasn't Vegas. But so they have a chance to close it out in Anaheim tomorrow night. So, I mean, I think the West will know who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals by tomorrow night. But who the Hurricanes play, that one's going 7.
Yeah.
That's got a 7-game series written all over it.
Well, other than Game 2 where Montreal really dominated Buffalo, they've all been very, very close games, and especially as of late. I mean, last night's was a great example of that. But it felt like the Canadians have been more on the offensive in this series. It kind of feels like Buffalo is playing a little bit defensive, a little bit. Yeah. And I would just say that leans toward the team kind of going on the offensive. But, this Buffalo team's too good to go down in 6. I agree with you. I see this going 7.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. That game 7 is going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be wild. Which brings me to a question I heard on social media yesterday. And it took me, and I never got it right. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is the city with at least 2 of the Big 4 teams that has the smallest population?
Is it Buffalo?
They're second.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the one I went with.
Because you got the Bills and the Sabres.
Yeah, that's the one I went with.
Oh, boy. Is it East or West?
West.
Okay.
Yeah. Because most people went East, and I went East with a lot of it. But remember, you have to have at least 2.
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma City doesn't have anything else other than the Thunder.
No, they got AAA.
Yeah, and that's the thing that throws me off with Nashville, because they got the Sounds and the top. Well, is it? No, Nashville's got way too many people now.
No, and Nashville only got one. Only got the NHL. Oh, no, sure.
Well, I was they got the Titans. I forget they're there too.
No, Nashville's a top 20 market. So.
Yeah.
Even I forget about the Titans.
Is it San Antonio? Do they have 2, or just the Spurs?
Only the Spurs.
Does Albuquerque have anything?
No.
I may have to tap out. I can't think of it.
It's in the mountains. Think religious in the mountains.
Utah? Oh, it's Salt Lake, isn't it?
Salt Lake City. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
The smallest city with at least 2, because everyone thinks Buffalo.
Yeah.
But Buffalo just edged them by like a few thousand.
I was about to say there's nothing in Salt Lake other than so you have the Jazz and the what is it? The Mammoth. Yeah, I would say. I was gonna say the Kraken, but that's Seattle. I forgot they got a name now.
They did that at Barstool yesterday, and I was like.
I'll probably see that. I'll probably see it when I get in the car now.
Well, that will do it for another fun episode here on Exports Live, brought to you by C&B Linen. We'll be back on Friday. We'll be reacting to whatever happens in the Substate. Hopefully, good things over here at Tom Cruise Field. Plus, we'll preview the regionals in, or not the regionals, Substate in high school softball. So, for Michael Marks, I'm AJ Good. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.